Alright, so good day, EDSC1 students. So welcome to our continuation for the coverage of your third examination. So the week 6 to 7. So the previous ULO, letter A, so you have already know the scientific attitudes, right, about or becoming as a future elementary science teacher. So right now I will discuss the ULO, letter B. So identify the teaching approaches, strategies, instructional resources, and materials for the science teaching. Okay, so let us define first what is this approach. So approach is a set of assumptions that define beliefs and theories about the nature of the learner and the process of learning. Okay, so as a future teacher, diba, so you have different teaching approach, right, in order to teach the subject science. Okay, it is also a method that is an overall plan for systematic presentation of a lesson based upon a selected approach. Some authors call it a design, also called as teaching techniques, or the specific activities manifested in the classroom. Okay, so right now we have this synchronous classroom, right, or a virtual classroom that are consistent with the method and therefore in harmony with an approach as well. Okay, so one of the technique, diba, nowadays in the virtual classroom, diba, so since science it's not an easy subject, right? So it needs a lot of understanding, diba, to understand the theories, diba? So i-apply yung mga natutunan natin ng mga theories, diba, by having that application, diba, or hands-on activities. Alright, so next is we have here the essential knowledge. So educational theories on which science teaching is grounded. Okay, so the first one is we have here Jean Piaget's theory of constructivism. Okay, so I know you have already discussed about Jean Piaget, diba, on your other professional education subjects, diba, sa mga prof ed ninyo na subjects like Educ 101, Educ 102, 103, or up to 110, no? So nagian nyo dati when you were in first year college, diba, or this second year college na kayo, or last term. So theory of constructivism, which states that the people produce knowledge and form meaning based on their experiences from impact learning, because teachers need to develop a curriculum plan that enhances their students' logical and the conceptual development. Alright, so one of your final project or final requirement in our subject EDSC1, is you will make a lesson plan, diba, a science, elementary science, diba? So I created a poll in the messenger group chat, diba, of your chosen grade level, diba, from grade 1 up to grade 6. Okay, so clearly teachers must emphasize the important role that experiences or links to the adjacent atmosphere play in the student education. So from the word construct, diba, so as a future teacher, so you will construct, diba, the idea, okay, or your lesson plan, diba, on which topic or how will you teach, diba, your future elementary pupils. Okay, that is how importance according to Jean Piaget, diba, the experiences of the impact learning. Right? So we have here some of the characteristics of a constructivist learning. Okay, the first one is the authentic activities and our real-world environments. Okay, so it is related on the experiences. Diba? So yung mga hands-on activities. Diba? So dali lang siya masabtan, diba, ang mga difficult subjects or topics sa science, diba, if i-apply siya, diba, if kita mismo, diba, ang experiment. Okay, so learning is fun, di ba, lalo sa mga estudyante or mga pupils, di ba, if they will apply it by their own. Okay, another one is the multiple perspectives. So as we all know, every students have multiple intelligence, di ba, they are some pupils who are visual learners or audiovisual learners, di ba, readily kinesthetic, they always love to move, di ba, or they are musically inclined, di ba? So in the subject of science is you may apply with music, di ba, para mas catchy sa ila. Another one is holistic and integrative, di ba? So as a future elementary science teacher, you should teach as a whole, di ba, to your future pupils. Okay, and then integrate or innovate, di ba? So should have that innovation to teach, di ba, different skills or scientific skills to your pupils. Fourth is self-directed learners. Okay, from the word self-directed. So every pupil should experience being independent. Diba? So dili siya paras sa una sa tuwa dati, diba, da spoon feeding, diba, nga teachers, teacher center, diba, nga teacher always ang magtudlo. So right now, diba, so ang mga pupils is mag-discover din sila. Diba? So they have that curiosity. Okay, so may explore sila, may experiment. Right? So and that is according to Jean Piaget. Another one is the meaningful learning. Okay, the last here is meaningful. So from the word itself, diba, meaningful. So there should be a meaning. Okay, not just based from the knowledge, diba, the construction. So it should be learned. Diba? Kasi nga, after a school year, diba, not all those topics are ma-remember sa isa ka pupils. Diba? So, depende sa niya if ma-remember niya when he or she got in junior high school, senior high school, and then up to college. Okay, so siya as an individual person or student is meron siyang nag-gain. Diba, not this short span lang na knowledge sa atuwa. Second is the Albert Bandura's theory of the social learning theory. Okay, it stresses that the importance of observing and modeling other people's behaviors, attitudes, and the emotional reactions. Okay, so sa Jean Piaget na theory of constructivism, so it could be learned by experience, diba? So as we all know, experience is the best teacher. However, according to Albert Bandura's theory of social learning theory, okay, so as an individual student, so we could also learn something with our outside or our surroundings, diba? Just like our classmates, our friends, or your teachers. Okay, so Bandura stated that learning would be extremely difficult, not to mention dangerous, if people only had to rely on the effects of their own actions to inform them what to do. Fortunately, most human behavior is observed by modeling. Okay, by observing others, one has an idea of how new behaviors are performed, and this coded information serves as a guide for action later on. Okay, so believe in that saying, diba, that no man is an island, diba? So walang tao, diba, na nabubuhay na sa sarili niya lang. Okay, so he or she will ask help, diba, or he or she will seek help to other people, diba, to improve or to enhance him or her na intelligence, diba, knowledge or skills. Okay, so another one is the learning style theory. It explains that students have preferential individual learning styles, and therefore people may vary in their response to learning opportunities and how they learn. Okay, so every students, diba, or every pupils have different learning style. Di ba yung depende sa kanilang study habits, yung kanilang attitudes, di ba, or behavior when it comes to their education. Okay, so not all students or pupils have the same, di ba, na learning style. Okay, may iba, di ba, na just listening to his or her teachers, di ba, so maka-learn na siya or process na siya sa iyang brain, or may iba din na nag-retake down ng notes para pa mag-retain or balik-balik sa iyang mind, di ba, ang katong discuss sa teacher. Next one is a brain-based theory. It is another theory in which science teaching in the K-12 curriculum is founded. Alright, so from the word brain-based learning. So as we all know, science is one of a difficult subject, diba? Just like in mathematics. Okay, so pinaprocess, diba, ang brain function or brain processes of every students, diba, or pupils. Okay, so in-enhance or in-improve yung kanilang critical thinking, di ba, yung kanilang curiosity. Okay, so para there is some problem solving din na magaganap. Alright, so as we all know, our brain is a parallel processor. Di ba? So it's a lot of neurons, di ba, or nerve cells na mag-function in our entire body. Okay, the search is for, meaning is innate. So, related lang din siya kanina sa meaningful learning. Next, the search for meaning occurs through patterning. Okay, so it should be patterns. Diba? So, step-by-step na patterns, diba? Or processes. Okay, another one is emotions are critical to patterning. As we well know, our brain, diba, are functioning with our emotions, diba, or our behavior. Okay, with that learning styles or theory. And lastly, learning is enhanced by a challenge and inhibited by threat. Okay, so just like our life, diba? So it's not easy. Okay, we encounter different challenges, diba? Then nowadays, this COVID-19 pandemic, di ba, this trying times, it could be a threat din, di ba, sa ato ang mga experience na mga individual mga problems, di ba? Then this science really is a good way, di ba, to learn. So to the inventors of those vaccines, di ba, na isa na sa to ang mga activities karon, di ba, para maprotektahan or maging secure ang ating life. Okay. Again, so experiential learning, so yun na-mention a while ago, as advocated by David Kolb. Okay, so it is a learning that occurs by making sense of a direct everyday experiences. So the proponent of experiential learning is David Kolb. Diba? So from the word experiential, diba? Based on our direct everyday experiences. So also what I have mentioned a while ago, diba, that experience is the best teacher. Another one is the situated learning that is theorized by Lev and Wenger, which is a learning in the same context in which concepts and theories are applied. Okay, from the word situated, diba, so there is a certain situation, diba, like workshops, kitchens, gardens, and farms that are used in the classroom. Okay, so with this different situation, diba, so your future pupils could also learn something, diba, different, not just based on the school, but also could apply it to their home. Next one is the reflective learning that refers to the learning that is facilitated by a reflected learning. Okay, from the word reflection. So your future pupils could also reflect, diba, what he or she learned, diba, from your lesson or your science topic. Another one is the discovery learning that takes place in problem-solving situation where the learners draws on his or her own experience and prior to solve a problem. So as we all know, science is a systematized body of knowledge. Okay, so it could improve our critical thinking. Diba? So the scientists may discover this vaccine. Diba? So if wala itong mga vaccine ngayon, so we could not go back into normal, diba, with this COVID-19 pandemic. Another one is the cooperative learning. Okay, teachers are strongly encouraged to use cooperative learning to lay the foundation of student success in a world that depends on collaboration and cooperation. Okay, so one of the core values of UM, diba, the teamwork. Okay, so no man is an island. Diba? So we should collaborate with other individual or cooperate with them. Diba? May other expert pa diba na mas hawod ani or master sa kanina subject. Okay. Guiding principles in teaching of science. Okay, yung na-mention a while ago, the constructivist principle. Diba, that was according to Jean Piaget. Diba siya ang proponent of the constructivist principle. Okay, just like the experiential learning, diba, it should have experiences. Then discover principle, so yun na-mention natin a while ago. So it could be one of the principle not in the teaching of science. Okay, so you should let your pupils, not our students, discover. Okay, so that's why they are called the student-centered approach. Na diba nga, dili lang always ang teachers ang sige o klase, diba, or lecture or nag-discuss. So just let your pupils, diba, to discover. Then the brain-based principles, so yung na-mention a while ago, then diba na ma-enhance yung ating brain function. Then make students work together, so just like kanina din sa cooperation and collaboration. And then consider their different or multiple intelligences and their learning styles. Okay, so inquiry-based approach. So from the word inquiry, diba, or it is really aligned to science, diba, or to be specific. Okay, that is refers to a diverse ways, diba, in which scientists study the natural world and propose explanations based on the evidence derived from the work. Just like word in discovery, diba, out of their curiosity, diba, so ma-inquire or there is an inquiry-based na mangyayari sa kanila. Next one are the essential features of inquiry. So we have here, learner engages in scientifically oriented questions. Okay, so more on enhancing their critical thinking. Diba, teachers and students ask the why questions. Diba, yung parang more on essay type, diba, na question like why or how. But like for example, why do the clouds form? Why do plants need sunlight? Okay, so ma-enhance yung kanilang critical thinking, diba? So makuna-una yun sila, ano na forma ng clouds. Diba? So dili siya sa mode of question na what, when, where, diba, or who. Okay, yung factual lang na mga question. Diba na at least one lang ang answer, diba, or direct to the point na mga answer. Second, learner gives priority to evidence in responding questions. Okay, so your future pupils or learners should prioritize, diba, in investigating, diba, or there should be an evidence, diba, based sa kanilang experiments. Third, learner formulates explanation from the evidence. Fourth naman is the learner connects explanations to the scientific evidence. Diba? So with that, it should really be honest, diba, to the data na kailangan niya or yung result from the experiment. And also the learners communicates and justifies the explanations. Okay, so related to research na yung kanilang results and discussions. Okay, so dapat merong conclusions sila, diba, or recommendations based sa kanilang experiment. Next are the different levels of inquiry in the classroom. So the first is structured. So teachers give students problems to investigate during hands-on activities, as well as the procedures and materials. Okay, just like in laboratory activities, di ba, experiments. Okay, so meron siyang naka-structured, di ba, na guidelines or procedure how to conduct the experiment. Next is the guided. So the teacher gave the students the problem or questions and the materials. So with that, as a future elementary science teacher, di ba, so you will guide your students, di ba, based sa kanilang experiment. So if they will fail, di ba, sa an experiment, so they will try another one, di ba, kasi nga sa patience and perseverance na scientific attitude. Then they should be open, yung open-mindedness, di ba, na scientific attitude. So the students determine the problems, investigations, procedures, and the outcomes. So in doing science, so we have here the goal of the science teaching. So you mentioned na a while ago, diba, sa previous pages. So they should have observing, classifying, inferring, predicting, measuring, communicating, using space or time relations, definition operationally, formulating hypotheses, experimenting, recognizing variables, interpreting data, and formulating models. Okay, so it could be related, diba, on the steps of the scientific method. Diba? So first is identify the problem or based sa kanilang observation. Diba? So i-classify nila on sa mga something problema na kailangan nila i-solve. Diba? That's why mag-conduct sila ng research. Okay, same as with the inferring. Diba? So they are just synonyms, diba, na word, and then they are now predicting and measure, diba, and also communicate yung mga future pupils ninyo, diba, sa mga teachers nila. They will ask something, diba, na ito yung problema na na-observe nila. And they may also use the space or time relations, diba, and then they may apply it, define it operationally, diba, based sa kanilang natutunan. Okay, and then they are now formulating hypotheses and conducting an experiment and recognizing the variables, diba, yung dalawang variables. If you're familiar sa inyong subject dati sa research, diba, the independent variable and the dependent variable. Okay, the control group naman na variable that is experimental na research. Then statistics is how to interpret the data and then formulating your results or the models. Okay, that is about the ULOP. And last topic is the discuss the assessment and evaluation in the science. Okay, so in the classroom assessment, diba, or how to grade, so it is a process that is used to keep track of the learner's progress in relation to the learning standards and in the development of 21st century skills. Okay, so I know you have another subject, diba, like the assessment of learning 1 and assessment of learning 2. So I forgot ano yun siya na edu 105 yet, I think, or 107. No, so you will know more about this topic. Okay, so just forward na lang on the assessment in the science subject in elementary. So we have here first the formative assessment that may be seen as assessment for learning. So teachers can make adjustment in their instruction. Okay, so in the formative assessment, diba, so it could be applied first, diba, or tinatawag ito na pre-test, diba, before mag-start yung quarter or lesson ng isang subject, diba, sa isang school year. So it is characterized how informally and intended to help the students identify their strengths and weaknesses in order to learn from the assessment experiences. Okay, this assessment is just testing, diba, yung kailang information by the students or to inform them, diba, ano yung mga natutunan nila from the past. That's why it's called formative assessment. Okay. Another is the summative assessment, on the other hand, may be seen as assessment of the learning which occurs at the end of the particular unit. So ito na yung entire quarter na examination or assessment. For example, the first quarter exam, second quarter exam, third quarter exam, or the fourth quarter exam. So the overall na assessment, diba, sa topic or sa subject. So, ito siya na mga discussion is nasa DepEd order na ito siya, no? So, we'll just go forward na lang, no, sa ating computation. Okay? So, sa inyong lesson plan. So, please just read this topic, no, sa aking na-send na downloadable study guide. Okay? So, in the components of the summative assessment, so we have here the written works, diba? Just like the quizzes, the assignments, okay, or those essay type na mga question. And then next one is the performance task, so yung mga class participation, like the oral recitation, diba? Mga group presentation, reporting, or role play, or the project. The last is the QA or the quarterly assessment. So ito na yung kanilang mga examination of the pupils. So in the computation is we have here the total scores of each component, the written work, performance task, and the quarterly assessment. Okay, so for example, meron bang example dito na ako nilagay? So I think wala pala, no? So it depends pala, no, sa every subject. For example, from grade 1 to 10. No, so same lang sa elementary and junior high school. So the science subject is 40% written work. No? So medyo malaki-laki kasi nga more on the experiments, diba? Or how they understand the topic. Same as with the performance task. While their quarterly assessment is 20%. So a total of 100%. Okay, same as sa mga senior high school, no? So may iba-iba silang topic, assessment, or grades, no, in the computation, like sa core subject. For example, my previous subject, the NS1S, no, the Earth and Life Sciences. Okay, well, also with the academic track, no, yung major nila, like sa UMS, ABM, and then the STEM. Okay, for example, dito pala, okay, for the total component of the initial grade is 27.19 sa written work, but the performance task is 41.67, the quarterly assessment is 16, so the initial grade now is 84.86, so it's just the initial grade. But in the transmutation table found in the adapted order number 8 series of 2015, so the transmuted grade should be 90. Okay, so this is reflected in the learner's report card. Okay, that is how you complete to compute the grades, but there is already a Microsoft Excel na naka-data na siya ang pag-input, pag-encode sa mga scores sa mga students. Right, so that's all for today. So thank you for listening to me and have a good day. Okay, bye. God bless on your third exam.